Hi folks, I'm Bob Schrupp, physical therapist.
Brad Heineck, physical therapist.
And together we are the most famous physical therapists on the internet.
Well, in our opinion, of course, Bob.
And we're talking into an apple, basically.
Yeah. Right there, that's going to be part of my lunch after this. So, oh, so can you hear that?
We've got a guest here today.
Yep. Hi, Craig again from the other day. And I'm here today to talk about calorie density. So
and we're going to talk about how to, this is a good way to diet, basically, and lose weight is what we're going to, and this is a great, I think we're going to have some great visual demonstrations here of how to eat and why to eat certain foods.
And yeah, and doing it in a healthy way. So I think this is a great thing. But Bob, I do see a couple people out there we have not seen before.
If you are new to our channel, please take a second to subscribe to us. We provide videos on how to stay healthy, fit, and we'll also do pain-free, and we upload every day. The subscription button's over there or down there. And if you haven't yet, please like us on Facebook. We have lots of free gifts there, quite often, contests that you can join to get some free stuff. All right, let's talk about Craig. Craig, why don't you give us your introduction? Let us know who you are.
Okay, yeah. My name is Craig Martin. I'm currently a graduate student at UW La Crosse, mastering in community health education. With an emphasis on diet, nutrition, and disease reversal through a whole foods, plant-based diet.
And Craig, can you tell us just a little bit about your personal story about, because you said you've had some weight loss, and the asthma story I think is interesting too.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I live in Wisconsin. I was lactose intolerant. I worked at a cheese factory. And
it's a requirement when you when you live in Wisconsin.
Yeah, and actually that's what got me interested in diet. Well, I was already interested in diet when I became lactose intolerant, but what I found more interesting is when I started working in the cheese industry. We would shut down for cheese production for lunch, and then we would start up again, and then we'd shut down at the end of the day. And what I found was, this goes along with heart disease too, the inside of the pipes of the cheese, when we were manufacturing cheese, the inside of the pipes were coated with cheese. And when we would take those pipes apart at the end of the day, we would have to scrape out hard cheese. Sometimes these cheese pipes would be so occluded, you could barely get anything through there. And that made me realize what I was eating had an impact not only on my weight, but also on my health.
Sure.
I stopped eating cheese after I started working at a cheese factory because I just thought, oh my gosh, what was it doing? Well, not only that, but cheese is very calorically dense. A 1 ounce cube of cheese, which is about the size of 2 dice, has 100 calories in it.
Wow.
And when you think about that, that's a small amount of cheese. That's about the size of, that one apple there probably has 100 calories, but if that was cheese, that would probably be about 600 calories.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you look at food that way and you start to realize where your calories are coming from, it really can help you visualize how much food you can eat and still lose weight.
How much, Craig, how much weight have you lost?
Well, I started following a whole foods plant-based diet after I saw the devastating effects of cheese. And I lost about 40 pounds. So at my heaviest, I was about 166. Now I'm about 128, 130, 126.
You know, and I look at you, you look like a naturally thin person.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you do. You don't look like someone that was ever overweight.
Yeah.
You know, interestingly enough. I mean,
yeah.
I thought you were one of those lucky people that
Eat anything you want, never gain weight.
Yeah. Well, now I eat anything I want and I never gain weight. But before, I used to eat anything I wanted and I gained weight. So,
and tell me your age too, because
yeah.
I think you look younger than you are.
Yeah, I'm 36 years old. I get a lot of people telling me I look like I'm in my early 20s.
Right,
so,
and you do.
Yeah,
exactly.
So you're a walking testimony to plant-based diet.
Correct. Yeah.
And didn't you say your asthma had a change with this diet?
Yeah. When I cut the dairy out of my diet, I had asthma for 30 years, and as soon as I cut the dairy out, it was funny. I'd run a half marathon in Green Bay because I always wanted to run a half marathon. And I had done that, and my parents were like, "Craig, where's your inhaler? How come you're not, where are your asthma symptoms? Like, what is going on?" And I went, "Oh, yeah, I don't have asthma anymore." It had been a gradual transition. The longer I went without the animal products in my diet, the greater the benefits were. And from that point on, I ran the half marathon, and I said I can run a marathon, and then I did, and I was like 14 minutes shy of qualifying for Boston.
Wow.
So
Great.
I mean, my first marathon ever. So I thought,
Wow.
huh. And I had never run before because I couldn't. So
we got some visualization here.
there's
What's all
yeah.
this all about?
So do you mind if I just stand up here?
No, go ahead.
No, okay. So what I have here, this is very interesting. This right here, it's 5 pounds of lettuce. This is also 500 calories. So it's I mean, if you feel this is pretty heavy.
This
I
is
don't want
heavy.
you to pull, knock you out of your chair.
So
Don't drop it.
500 calories.
Right. And then what I have here, this is what 500 calories of cauliflower, broccoli, and carrots looks like.
So still quite large.
Right.
But
Quite large.
Not as big. Not
Yeah.
as big.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we eat about 2,000 calories a day. So you could eat 4 bowls of this a day, and you get 2,000 calories. So there you go. I mean, you would probably fill up before you would ever finish this.
Right.
And if you had to eat that all day, you'd lose weight because you wouldn't be able to eat enough calories in a given day.
Sure.
So I mean, that just there in and of itself is a testament to what 500 calories looks like, how that will fill your stomach. Because honestly, this right here is about the size of our stomach.
And what do we have there?
Well, and there's a bunch of little W's on these.
Peanut M&Ms.
And peanut M&Ms, yeah. And this is 500 calories of peanut M&Ms.
Wow.
And when you compare that to this 500, do you want to lift that up?
This
just
is my weakness right here, peanut M&Ms.
This is amazing. Which one do you think would fill your stomach?
Yeah.
Which one would fill you up? That's why we snack on these all day and we never get full.
We do.
And if we were to eat that, we would get full. Now, granted, I would never just eat this alone.
Right.
I would probably use a balsamic vinegar on that, something to replace the olive oil, because this olive oil, if that were used to coat this, that would make that 1,000 calories.
So that's 500 calories in its, on its own.
Yeah, this is 500 calories compared to this little, when you look at it, 500 calories, that's what 500 calories looks like next to each other.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, well, it's okay because olive oil is healthy, and that's all like good calories.
Right. Well, I mean, it's all extra calories.
Okay.
You can use a balsamic vinegar. You could use other types of vinegars. They have some very
I'm
good.
writing this one down too.
They have some very good flavored vinegars. You could go online to the olivetap.com and you can look at some of the flavored vinegars that they have, and you can use that in place. That's a very low calorie option that still gets your lettuce moist, and that's what you're looking for, and it has really good flavors.
Right. Exactly.
Or you could use this and dump 500 calories on your salad.
Sure.
So I know
500 calories out of a 2,000 calorie diet is a lot.
Well,
to just get flavor on your salad.
Exactly, yeah. So then other examples here. This is 500 calories of sweet potato. I had to cut the sweet potato so there's some air in here, but if you boil sweet potatoes or boil any potato, studies have shown that potatoes are one of the most filling foods that people can eat. It's what we put on that potato that becomes problematic. So if you're putting butter on your potato, you're increasing the calorie density of the food, just kind of like olive oil, because butter is 100% fat, just like olive oil is 100% fat.
So what would you recommend to put on potatoes?
So for potatoes, I either put salsa or some stew or something else, because when you eat a baked potato, it's dry. So really all you're trying to do is you're trying to moisten it up and to get it to a flavor that you can like. Otherwise, you can mash the potato, pour in some vegetable broth, some low sodium vegetable broth, or
But that's usually high in sodium, though, isn't it?
yeah. So you'd want low sodium vegetable broth.
Okay.
Yep.
And there's such
or
a
no
thing?
salt added. There are.
Oh.
Yep. Or you can make your own if you're feeling adventurous.
What do we have in front of it?
So in front of that, we have some oatmeal. Now this is dried oatmeal, so actually dried oatmeal is actually calorically dense. However, when you add water to it and you rehydrate it, this would swell in your stomach. So I mean, it would probably fill, I should have done that before, but it would probably fill about half of this bowl.
Sure.
But the thing is the nice thing about calorie density, whether this be oatmeal or rice, when you mix these foods with it, you're going to fill up your stomach more. So I would always, every morning when I have my oatmeal, I add berries to it. And as we see,
the berries are not as calorie dense.
Yeah,
yes.
there's not. Calorie density is based on a few things: the amount of water in a product, the amount of fiber in a product, the amount of fat in that product, and the amount of sugar, or carbohydrates, or however we want to use the term sugar or carbohydrate.
Sure.
Or starch. Calorically dense items contain usually more fat, or they are lacking water or fiber. That's why this is pure fat. It's 1 gram of fat is 9 calories per gram. 1 gram of sugar is 4 calories per gram. So it's a double the density already, based on how we view fats and sugars.
Are you through, like, when with fruit and stuff? So you're saying there's more water obviously in fruit. Mm-hmm. So I get into trouble with dehydration sometimes, and I've been eating less carbs. Is that possible? Because I'm eating less carbs, I'm getting less water from food, and I need to drink more. I mean, is that?
That could be. Yeah. If you were to have a steamed sweet potato, there would be a lot of water in there. If you were to have
Sure,
steamed
makes sense.
potatoes, you would have a lot more water. Where if you're having something like these are pretty dry.
Right. Right.
And
I always thought, like, when I eat peanuts, which I eat roasted peanuts now, before, obviously, I'd get dehydrated because of the salt. Mm-hmm. But now it seems like I still almost get dehydrated because I'm not taking any water in through the the food itself.
Exactly. Yeah. It's one interesting thing. I mean,
that is interesting.
When you're eating more whole fruits and vegetables, you're actually getting more water, which means you don't have to drink as much water, because you're getting it through another source.
So if I understand you right, we can eat peanut M&Ms if we drink water with it.
Well, that's one way of understanding it.
I like you. This is fun now.
So I would say drink a lot of water so these float on the top a little more so they fill you up, because otherwise that water will filter through and you'll just be left with this left in your stomach, and that's not going to fill you.
What's the one on the end? We didn't talk about that one, did we?
No, this is about 500 calories for you. I mean, I would never tell anyone not to eat them, but the thing is, when you're eating food, you have to realize that this is still 500 calories.
Sure.
So whether or not you think it's fine. Well, it is fine. It is healthy, but not a lot goes a very far way.
So I don't know if we mentioned, but this is approximately the size of the average human stomach.
Human stomach, yeah. Stomachs do stretch, but my stomach stretches a lot. I eat a lot of food because I eat more of these foods. So my stomach has to be adaptable, because otherwise I would starve. I mean, not starve. I mean, I just eat a lot more.
What about the saturation factor, though? Like I eat nuts and I seem to fill up on them quicker. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of times I can eat some of the other foods, and obviously I could have ate a lot more. Obviously I didn't realize, but I'm still hungry after I eat the almonds, and it seems like
you're held over longer.
I'm held over longer, right?
Yeah. So some things. Remember, there is fiber in this. So the fiber is what fills you up. There's no fiber in here, so you could drink this. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it,
right?
But there's no fiber in there to keep you feeling fuller longer.
Fiber is the secret on saturation quite often. I mean,
yeah. Actually, it's fiber. The amount of fiber and the amount of water in a product in a food actually keeps you feeling fuller longer.
I see.
So you're more satisfied. And that's the one thing they found with potatoes is when you boil potatoes, there's so much water in there that they just keep you full so much longer.
Gotcha.
And then not to mention all the fiber that's in there as well. So, yeah.
What about, I know we're over time here, but one more thing I want to what about spaghetti itself? What are your thoughts on spaghetti?
I eat spaghetti almost daily.
You do?
I do.
What do you eat with it?
I usually then will have some toast with it.
What do you put on it? Do you put anything on it?
On my spaghetti?
Yeah.
I have spaghetti sauce. I have a fat-free spaghetti sauce that I purchase. I sprinkle on parsley, Italian seasoning. I like Nutritional yeast. I don't know if you've ever had Nutritional yeast. It kind of has a cheesy flavor. I didn't like it at first, but I kind of adapted my taste buds to it. Yeah. And then, you know, just a little bit of cracked pepper on it. And that's what I use.
Sounds good.
So,
Wow.
but
I miss spaghetti. So.
yeah, yeah. And then I was going to say one more thing. This is 500 calories of fruit. The only thing is this is blackberries and raspberries. I couldn't get the blueberries in here. So this is about 2.5 pounds of food. So these should be in here too. So that's 500 calories worth of fruit.
Oh, these should be in there with it.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So when you're
So
looking,
they're pretty good too.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they're very good. And remember, all these foods here contain carbohydrates. Now, these foods contain. This has no carbohydrate, but it's 500 calories. This is 5 pounds of carbohydrate, essentially. So carbohydrates aren't necessarily the villain.
Sure.
It's the medium or the food that brings in the carbohydrates
Sure.
that contain fat and everything else, because this is carbohydrate as well, but there's also a lot of fat in here.
Right.
And that's what drives up the caloric density of this food. So
I'm assuming the sugar has got to be.
Right.
there is sugar in there as well, yeah. But when you're looking at, everyone says carbohydrates are the villain. Well, it's really these high-fat foods that we eat that are more villainous than a carbohydrate, because these all contain carbohydrates too. But
Sure,
look at how much you can eat, and look at how little you can eat here.
And then there's those
So.
dyes in the.
Well,
in
and
the
yeah, and then we have all
M&Ms.
those other things we
Yeah,
want
have
to
to
avoid and
worry
stay
about
away
too,
from.
so.
Yeah. So.
Well, one way or
Again,
another.
Yeah, we want to very much thanks Craig for taking the time. Very interesting. Kind of screwed up my whole diet, but that's all right. I'll make some changes, but we'll look and see what we're going to do here.
I'm going to be drinking water with my M&Ms now. That's all.
Well, that's good. At least you're drinking some water.
Thanks again, Craig.
Oh
for
yeah,
coming.
you're welcome. Thank you guys.
Thanks for joining us.
All right.